Hi, this is Mr. Ward, and this is the Algebra Exit Ticket 35.2 for B block, 36.1 for A, and 36.2 for D, the video key for that. So our first thing is we're going to factor x squared minus 81. And so x squared minus 81 is a difference of squares, which means it's going to be the sum of the square roots here and times the difference of the square roots. So square root of x squared is x. And the square root of 81 is 9. And we also are going to deal with x minus 9. In fact, this kind of captures the fact that the square root of 81 is plus or minus 9. It also captures the fact that negative 81 is 9 times negative 9. And those are the factors. We simply have a sum and difference of the same two things. Our middle term will be 9x and negative 9x, which is why there is no middle term, because it's just 0x. And here I present you with a robotic giraffe. Now we are going to launch this robotic giraffe so we don't harm real giraffes, because giraffes are real. I'm looking at you. You know who I'm looking at. Giraffes are real. Okay, so we have a robotic giraffe. It's being launched from 3 meters above the ground. So the equation height in terms of time is the formal way to put it, equals 1/2 acceleration times time squared plus velocity times time plus initial height. Okay, so I'm going to replace initial height with 3 meters. I'm replacing velocity with 12 meters per second because that's our initial velocity. And 1/2 acceleration, the Earth's acceleration, gravitational acceleration, is negative 9.8. We're going to round that to negative 10 to keep the equation simpler. And negative 10 times 1/2 is negative 5. And since we'll be using a graph with x's and y's, I'll change t to x. That'll be negative 5x squared plus 12x plus 3. And now we will have height in terms of x. Okay, so what are our a, b, and c is the real question here. A equals negative 5. B equals 12. And C equals 3. In the future, when you run into these equations, sometimes it's not in meters and seconds. Sometimes it's in feet per second, in which case this becomes a 16 because the Earth's gravitational acceleration in feet is negative 32 feet per second, roughly. So, but I'm doing meters. So A, B, and C are negative 5, 12, and 3. And since we now know what those are, we're going to go into a Desmos and we're going to correct this. So that's 3, and that's 12, and that's negative 5. And so we know that, so we're going to use the quadratic formula. So we know A is negative 5 again, just like it was in the equation of the do now, because Earth's gravitational acceleration hasn't changed. B is going to be 12, and C is going to be 3. So we haven't worked out the discriminant, so let's do that now. So 12 squared is 144. Then 4 times negative 5 is negative 20 again. And negative 20 times 3 is negative 60. And so now I've got 144 minus 60. And you've got to watch out for this. This means that's plus. And 144 plus 60 is 204. All right, let's clean up down here. That's going to be negative 10. And we can factor a 4 out of 204. So that's going to be 4 times 51. 51, we're not going to be able to find any neat and tidy squares in there because that's just 3 times 17. Okay. So we can pull the 4 out from square root jail, get the square root of 4, it's 2. Or negative 2. We'll deal with the negative 2 in a second. But before I do anything else, I'm going to have everything in the numerator and denominator, get rid of the evenness, as I'll reduce this. So that becomes 2 divided by 2 is 1, 12 divided by 2 is 6, and 10 divided by 2 is 5. Of course, that's a negative 5, so I'm going to change the sign of everything in this. And now, because I have a plus or minus version, okay, I'm changing the sign again here to get me the plus or minus version of this. Okay, and so I have 6 plus or minus the square root of 51 over 5. And that is your answer. So it is 6. So x will equal 6 plus or minus square root of 51 all over 5. And that is that for this exit ticket, I think. Yes. Oh, no, there's one more question. I apologize. What would be the simplified square root of 20? Well, we're getting the square root of 20. And the square root of 20, let's break 20 into factors. 4 times 5. 5 is going to have to stay in square root jail, but we can take the 4 out. And we take the 4 out, get the square root of 4. It's going to be 2 root 5. And it's going to be plus or minus. And we are done.